Hey guys, Kevin with On Point Pro Styles in Gainesville, Georgia. This video, we're gonna cover the commonly asked question, how do I get into the tint business? How do I start tinting? How do I learn? Where do I go? What do I buy? What tools do I need? Where do I get film? What kind of film? This is gonna be my opinion. This is my shop. This is where I produce tint jobs every single day. This is where I feed my family and pay my bills. This is also where I create all the content for you guys. So hopefully this video helps. I'm not gonna cover things like, are you gonna be tinting in a shop? Are you gonna be mobile? Are you gonna be doing this on the side or just on the weekends, just for family and friends? This is gonna be, I wanna tint, what do I need? So I'm gonna kind of point you in the, hopefully the right direction based on what I use every single day. And just the basics, keep it to a minimum. We're not gonna go into all kinds of crazy tools and all these different, there's lots and lots and lots of tools out there, but I'm gonna show you the tools that I use on an everyday basis, and hopefully that helps get you started. We're gonna cover everything from the squeegee handles, blades, corner cards, everything. The mix, the water solution, the slip solution they call it. And I'll point you where to get the film. So I got everything laid out on the table. It's kind of impromptu, but I see the question asked so often. I wanted to throw something together to hopefully answer that question without being vague and just say watch videos and go here, buy tint and tools. I'm gonna cover what tools, what tint, and I'll give you a full run through of the tool belt I use, what tools are in it on an everyday basis on every single car. So let's get started. Okay, so before we get too deep on where to buy it, grab a pen, a piece of paper, or save this video so you can rewatch it. I'm gonna give you a list of what you need to think about getting in order to successfully tint your first car. I buy all of my stuff and my film from TintDepot.com, so that would be my go-to. That's where I'm going to tell you to go, because 90% of everything that I have can be bought right from them really easily, with the exception of a couple of things I might have. But anyways, TintDepot.com, that's the place to look. That's where you're gonna look for your tools, and they have great films like the films that I use here. You'll see lots of videos of me using their film, shrinking it, and installing it. So that's where to go. So you need a squeegee, a handle, and a squeegee blade. You need corner cards, you need scrapers, you need a knife, you need blades, you need a heat gun, you need microfiber towels, you need a dash towel. I recommend a soak rope. You need a sprayer of some kind, baby shampoo, and you need some rear window install tools that, again, I'm gonna cover all of these tool by tool. But this is the list of tools. You need some kind of a scrubber to scrub the outside of the glass and clean it. I recommend a MacTac card or even a black Teflon card for shrinking. And this is more of a recommendation, but it's only a few bucks. Get into it. It's a fantastic tool to have, and that's a clay bar. So all these things available at TintDepot.com. I'm gonna start off with my tool belt, and we'll go through that, as that's gonna give you the list of what I carry on me when I'm installing tint. So let me grab that and we'll go through it. So here's my tool pouch. It's not the most glamorous. The pouch cannot be found on TintDepot.com. This is a Craftsman Pouch for construction workers. I don't like larger pouches. Now they have a wide array of pouches, so there's some ones on there you should check out. I used to use a full front apron. Too much, too big. I didn't like it personally. I know a lot of tinters out there still use those, great. There's even pouches kind of like this that are a little bit wider that still carry more tools, just still too wide for me. This is the Fusion Shorty, love it. It's my go-to, available on TintDepot.com. The squeegee I have in it, now I switch between the Orange Crush and the Red Line Extractor. Both great blades. The Red Line's harder than the Orange Crush. The Orange Crush could leave streaks and scuffs because it is a little bit more rubbery. There's a durometer and a hardness video that we just did. If you want to learn about the different hardness levels of squeegees and hard cards, definitely check that video out. This is just my go-to. You're probably going to want to try different ones, but I like the Orange Crush and the Red Line Extractor. That's what's in my tool belt. I have a pick tool or gasket tool. I'm a two-stager. I don't bottom load, so this is what I use to pick the bottom gasket, pull it back so I can drop the film in. I've got an Olfa red dot, with NT blades, and obviously I have a pack of additional blades. My corner card in my pouch is the blue tri-edge. The blue is the softer ones, a little safer on tint. It can still scratch, but it's a little safer on tint, so that's the one I keep in my pouch to hit the corners, the sides, and the bottom. This is a Platinum Easy Reach. That's a much harder card. It scratches tint almost by just touching it. But it's a great scraper to reach into the gaskets on the side and the bottom to scrape any debris that might be kind of hidden down there. I like to use plastic scrapers where I can, not always, but where I can. This is a Gator Blade. This is another great scraper for the glass. I keep it in my pouch. If I can get away with using a plastic scraper over a metal, that's why I have those. I have a pink chiseler to crush out maybe that one little crease that got in the side, or maybe a couple of specks of dirt that got into a corner or something. I keep that in my tool belt so I can crush that out and finish the job up and make it look really nice. This is something I just put in my pouch literally maybe a week ago. I like it. If the film tends to slide around a little bit too much, you squeegee and this film slides, this is something that I keep so I can lightly tack the film and let it sit for maybe a minute, and it tacks to the glass, and then I can go to using the other squeegee. So that's something, I think they call this the side swiper. So that's something I keep in my belt, but I've only had it for maybe a week or two, and I've been doing this for years, so food for thought. This is something that is fairly new in my pouch as well. It's more for PPF, but it's real rubbery and it's got that point on it. So it pushes out good water, and I like using it on the larger side gaskets to really push the film down, and even on the bottoms of, say, trucks that have really loose gaskets. So I keep one of those in my pouch. The last two is probably not gonna be something that I would say you have to have. None of this is gonna be something I say you have to have, but I'm gonna say this is, after years of trial and error, this is what's in my pouch, and this is what helps me with successful tint shop. So this is mainly for back glass to do rear windows and even windshields, but these are the tools that I would highly recommend that you get. This is a scrub pad, obviously not gonna be just for back windows. It'll be a great scrubber pad for the side windows as well. Comes in big sheets like this. You just cut them down. I usually cut it in the middle. I usually just cut it this way, and then I cut it down this way, and creates 4 blocks, which also is the size that you would need for this to put on here. This is the scrubber. So since we're talking about that, this is a paddle scrubber that helps you get down into the back of back glass and get all the way to the bottom and scrub the glass really, really well. Again, these is just the tools. I'll talk, about using the tools in another video. But these are the tools that you're gonna wanna look at and you're gonna wanna get. This is the Automotive Bulldozer. So this, I'm sure you might know or you might not know, in back glass, it tapers way down and gets real thin in the back, making it really, really hard to get a handled squeegee in there and push that water out. That's what this is designed for. It's also designed to get behind brake lights. So gotta have it, definitely get that. This is a block squeegee. Why is this on the list? You're not gonna use this very often, but when you get that Volkswagen Passat in that's got a really, really tight lip along the bottom where the glass goes beyond the deck lid, it's literally really, really, really thin, and you can't even get the bulldozer in there. So this is very thin. It's got kind of a rubbery edge on one side, a plastic edge on the other, and it's super flexible. So it really helps to get down in there and swipe that water out on the bottom edge of that one time that Passat comes in there and you wish you had this. For back glass, last but not least, this is the side swiper. Now I have an Orange Crush squeegee blade in it. You can get them with the blue blades, which are just fine. I just changed over to this Fusion Orange channel blade. But anyways, the side swiper lets you get down to the very bottom on those little bit wider ones and swipe all that water down on the bottom. So that's your back glass tools. Let's move on to, let's talk about the towels and the soak rope. Okay, so the first tool I'm gonna talk about is the soak rope. This is going to be what you use to stuff into the bottom. Now, it's not gonna work on every single back glass, but it's definitely a windshield tool for sure. Not every single windshield, but 90% of every windshield is gonna allow you to use a soak rope. It's microfiber, and it's designed to catch water down at the bottom. So you take the soak rope and you stuff it down into the bottom of the windshield or your back glass all the way from side to side, so that any water that's draining down is caught by this. So great tool to have. Another thing is what they're calling a dash towel. It's just a large microfiber towel. that you can lay across the back decks to help catch water. Same with the dash if you're doing a full windshield. Large microfiber towel. And then just your standard microfiber towels. They absorb water really well, they clean really well, and they don't scratch the tint. We'll move on to some other smaller stuff that you're gonna wanna have. Okay, some other things to consider. I got this from the dollar store. It's a blue scrubby. TintDepot has, I think, what they call scrubbits, which are triangular looking pads, but the point is you want something that's kind of abrasive that won't scratch the glass, that lets you really clean the outside of the glass before you lay the film on it to start tinting. You don't want to hit it with a hard card as you're shrinking it or something and then rip a hole in the tint or damage the tint. So something to kind of just scrub down the outside of the glass and get all that dirt and debris off. While we're talking about shrinking, you really have two main options for pushing the film down. You can do it with a soft card or a hard card. I like the MacTac. This is my go-to. This is what I use on all back windows, all full windshields when I'm shrinking. I like the softness of it. It prevents creases a lot better, but it gives you just enough rigidity, if that's a word, to smash that film down and not damage it. Used to use a black Teflon. It's a great choice. So, you know, something, and there's lots of other cards out there. This is just what I'm pointing out as, hey, give it some thought. If you want to get into this and you want to buy your tools and get started today, then no reason to look at all the other options out there. You can get started with a MacTac, black Teflon. Another corner card that I think is optional, but I say it's probably another one, it's just a couple bucks, add it to the list, is a Conqueror. This has a really nice rubber edge on it, and it has a rigid plastic edge on it, so it makes it a great tool for wider corners, and also reaching down in the back glass in a corner to really put a little extra pressure on something and pushing something out. So it's a good handy tool, something to consider. It's the Conqueror. So box squeegee, I think they call it, single-edged blades. You're gonna need them. There's gonna be stickers on side windows that you're gonna need to remove. I recommend using a handle. It's a little bit safer. TintDepot carries these as well. But you're gonna need these. I try to use them very little. There's glass coming out with coatings on it and stuff. So again, that's a whole nother story, but you're gonna need these for a good quality clean. This is not a absolute necessity, but I highly recommend it, making it part of your everyday arsenal. It's a clay bar. This one's by Glassade. It's available on TintDepot.com. It's simply a clay bar, but it does a fantastic job to really scrub the defroster lines on the back glass before installing the film, helping cut back on peanuts and bubbles. Also does a great job cleaning top edges and side windows before you install. So staying on the shrinking subject, we need heat. This is the standard Wagner heat gun. It's probably the most common heat gun you'll ever see used. It's not very expensive, but it's a great heat gun. So you need a heat gun and you want a hot one. So I suggest just the standard Wagner heat gun, also available on TintDepot.com. I'm a dry shrinker, not a wet shrinker. That's also another video. We've got lots of videos showing what that means and what it's all about, how to do it. And I use bounce dryer sheets, not available on TintDepot.com, but available at most markets. But this is what I use to smear on the glass before I lay the film so that I can shrink it. So if that's the method you want to use, definitely look at some videos and see which process might be best for you. You might want to try them both, but this is the go-to for dry shrinking. Another thing, shrinking back glass. This isn't really shrinking, but this is being able to see where to cut. This is a fantastic addition. It's absolutely not needed or necessary, but I highly recommend it. Again, it's a couple of bucks, add it to the list. This is a striping tape that you run around the border of your back glass or your windshield, and you lay it on right where you're gonna cut your film, so when you put your film down on the glass and you get it all prepped and shrunk, it makes it an easy target for you to see where to cut. So it's a cut line, that's what it does, and it helps you also not scratch the glass with your blade, so check that out. You need slip solution, you need a way to spray it. So this is literally just water and some baby shampoo. I've got a whole video about how to mix it, how much to use, why, but this would be a great starter slip solution. There's other stuff out there that you can buy that's supposedly, you know, just for installing tint that's not baby shampoo, but this is what I use in my shop every single day, just water, baby shampoo. and a Zep spray bottle, obviously. We can't forget what we're actually using. So in my shop, I have a 5-gallon keg. That lets me do 4 or 5 cars without having to refill it. I'm not saying run out and buy a tint keg. We're talking about getting what you need, pulling a car in and tinting it. This will do it, and I used them for years. And last but not least, get a light. This is a cheap cordless LED light. You're gonna want this to see on some glass where the glass aid doesn't work or what have you, or even with dark tint on the glass aid, this sheds a light through the really dark tint and lights up that glass aid. So grab you a light, be it corded or cordless, just make sure you have a light. Now, it's time to get tint. TintDepot.com has lots of tint, from your budget-friendly to your premium films. If you're just starting out and literally putting your hands on a roll of film for your first time, I would not run out and buy the most expensive film you can find. You're gonna want something that's economically priced but still works very well and very similar to your more higher premium films. Rather than starting off with something that shrinks different, installs different, you're gonna want something that shrinks very similar to something that you're gonna probably wanna move into. I would recommend their economy NR charcoal. The price for it is fantastic. It doesn't hurt the budget so bad as when you're making mistakes and you're throwing it away, because you're gonna throw a lot of film away. So remember that. You're gonna burn through a whole bunch of film. So check out their NR charcoal. It shrinks very well, just like any premium film that I carry in my shop. It installs great, it looks great. It's just not a long-term film, but you can expect to get a good few, 3, 4, 5 years out of it. But if you're starting out and you're throwing a bunch away and you're doing your friend's car, your family's car, start with that. It's an awesome film. So the next question you're gonna have is, what size roll do I buy? And they're all kinds. There's 20-inch, 24-inch, 36-inch, 40-inch, 60-inch. When I started out, I bought only 40-inch rolls. So I would get you maybe 2 rolls of the most common, which is probably in most areas is gonna be like a 20% and a 35%. If you get 40-inch rolls, you can split them in half to do side windows. We've got videos on that, but you can split them because 20 inches will do basically 95% of every side window on every car. And then the 40-inch roll covers all back glass and windshields. So for me, look at their NR charcoal, get your roll of 20 and a roll of 35. Maybe you want to get 3 rolls and get the 5%, the 20%, and the 35%, but get you a 40 by 100 foot of the NR charcoal, and you can split the roll in half to create 2 20s. Otherwise, if you've got the budget and you want to run with 20s and practice on just side windows and make it easy, then get you a 20-inch roll. In my shop, before I got a plotter, I carried only 20-inch rolls and 40-inch rolls. Obviously, when I ran out of the 20s, I could split the 40s. Otherwise, I used the 40s just for the bigger windows and the 20s for all side windows, with the exception of larger trucks. Now, because of the plotter, a 24-inch roll fits better in my plotter, so I carry 24s and 40s. But again, you're just starting out. You're not going to run out and buy a $4,000 plotter, a $2,000 plotter, whatever, and use software. You want to learn to hand cut. That's my suggestion. Learn to hand cut, learn how to do it, learn the art, the craft, and then if you decide that this is definitely the way you want to go and you're ready to move into a machine and really make an investment to move forward, then looking into plotters and software would definitely be something you might want to consider. So that's it for this one. I hope it helped. I know it was a lot of information to throw at you. Rewind it, grab you a pen and paper, go back to the beginning. It's not a lot of tools. It's not a lot of money. The good part about window tinting is there's not a major investment. It's not like I want to open a restaurant. I'm going to go find a location. I'm going to go buy all the food. I'm going to start selling it 6 months down the road. I hate it. You're $250,000 in debt and you got to figure out a way out. With tint, a couple $100 gets you the tools and the tint you need to start practicing. And that's your only investment. So at the end of the day, which hopefully you don't, but at the end of the day, you decide this just isn't for me, you're not out a lot of money. But if it is something for you, you didn't have to invest a lot to get into it. So there's a whole bunch more information on starting your business and marketing yourself, and we'll do more videos covering that. But for right now, if you want to start tinting, this is what you need. Go to TintDepot.com, find these tools, buy them, get started, and when you're ready to put the film to glass, we've got more videos showing how to do that, and we're going to continue to push more videos out to help the training process, to make it as easy as possible. So, hey, reach out to me, Kevin Rogers, On Point Pro Styles. If you have any questions, reach out to TintDepot.com. They're happy to help. Thanks for watching.